my thoughts and early predictions for the next installment in the Scream franchise. So, in case you didn't know, or perhaps you were hiding underneath a rock trying to stay away from COVID-19, Scream 2022, that came out in January of 2022, was a huge success at the box office. It did massive numbers despite the state of the world with COVID-19. It over exceeded their expectations. So obviously they announced that another Scream movie was happening. That movie will come out in March, or on March 31st, 2023. Title yet to be determined. It could be called Scream 6. It could be called Scream 2023. It's rumored that it's going to be called Scream ! Which, if that's the case, I will not like that. Or possibly it will be called Scream Ghostface Takes New York or something like that, because the movie is going to be taking place in New York, and that would be kind of copying Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, although it was actually Jason Takes a Boat, or Jason Takes Vancouver, whatever you want to call it. But regardless of that, just going to give my thoughts on what I know about the movie, some early predictions without seeing a trailer or anything like that, and just what I think about the movie. But before I do that, I may talk about spoilers. I may reveal killers from previous movies, so if you haven't watched all 5 previous Scream movies, then I highly suggest that you don't watch this video, just to stay away from any of those potential spoilers. I don't have a script in front of me. I just start talking. I do have the IMDb cast list of the upcoming Scream movie on my screen, just in case I forget any people that have been mentioned to be in the movie. That's all I have. And then, of course, if you're a Scream fan, if you like Scream-related content, and I do know that there's a lot of Scream content creators out there, if you want to see me talk about the Scream franchise more, which it's my favorite movie franchise of all time. In fact, Scream 2, in case you didn't know, is my 6th favorite movie of all time, with Scream from 1996 being, I think, number 15 or 16, and then Scream 2022 at the moment is also in the top 30. If you want me to do a lot of Scream-related content and to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please smash that like button. If you want to share this video with anybody that you know, or if you want to go ahead and put this video on your social media platforms, go ahead and do that. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are and anything that I talk about. If you have predictions of your own, go ahead and put those in the comment section. If you have thoughts, go ahead and put those in the comment sections. Anything you got related to Scream 2023 or Scream 6, put it in the comment section. And of course, last but certainly not least, you're watching the video anyway, so please don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your support, and be a part of something special. All right. So the first bit of news that was confirmed was we're going to get 4 returning cast members back that were in the previous movie. All things I thought were going to happen, but it was confirmed right away that we're going to get Sam, Tara, Mindy, and Chad all back, of course, played by Marissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, and Chad Gooding are all coming back to Scream 6. As far as their roles, I don't know how big or small their roles will be, but they will all be back. And then something that was initially thought right away, but was later finally confirmed, Courtney Cox will be back as Gail Weathers. The rumor is her role is going to be a lot bigger than it has been. She's going to kind of have a Dewey role that Dewey had in the last movie. Granted, he didn't have a lot of screen time due to something that happened, but Gail Weathers will be back in this movie. Now, obviously, I'll address the elephant in the room. Will Gail Weathers die? I don't know. I have no idea. Now, to bring Sydney into the fold again, you would think that Gail would die, but I don't know how they're going to do that, because they killed Dewey off. Do you really call off another character in the very next movie? I'm not sure exactly what their plans are. I would probably lean towards somehow, some way, Gail does indeed die. And then the news that kind of broke the internet as far as Scream fans go, they announced and confirmed that Hayden Panettiere was returning to play the role of Kirby Reed. Now, the last time that we saw Kirby was in Scream 4. She was outside getting stabbed by Charlie, and Charlie stabs her, but she's still moving around as the camera cuts away from her, and then we don't see anything of Kirby after that. Wes Craven had said he deliberately did that because he liked the character and he was going to bring her back. And Kevin Williamson said, well, she was supposed to die, but then Wes kind of liked her, and that's why we did the way we did. So Kirby was supposed to be in the next Scream movie. And then, of course, the movie did terrible. Scream 4 at the box office, like really bad, like what, 35 million or less. So Scream 4 didn't happen right away, and then Wes Craven died. So sad, and so Scream kind of went in limbo for years. So, but they did put the Easter egg in the last movie when Richie was watching the YouTube clips of the Stab movies, and on the right-hand side of the screen it said, "Interview with Woodsboro survivor Kirby Reed." So Kirby will be back. As far as her role in the movie, I have no idea. I would be very surprised if she's the first kill in the movie. I would be very surprised. In fact, I would be surprised at all, or I should say I would be completely surprised if they even killed Kirby Reed at all in the movie. Just wouldn't make sense. People love that character so much that I don't think they would. Lips are getting real dry here, and I have problems talking, but I don't think they would kill Kirby. So she'll be back. She says the fans would be happy with her role. She might have a really large role in this movie, and that would be awesome. Of course, the actress Hayden Panettiere has had some personal demons that she's dealt with, and she kind of quit acting. She did quit acting for like 3 or 4 years, and that's what her situation is. But she's coming back specifically for Scream 6 or whatever they call it, and I hope she's dealt with everything and she's in a good state of mind. But it'll be great to see a fan favorite character in the movie. Now, obviously, I will address the other elephant in the room, and that is Nev Campbell. I think her character of Sydney had a good, touching moment at the end of Scream 2022, her and Gail specifically, and that we necessarily don't need to see Sydney again. Obviously, we want to see Sydney, but they kind of made it seem like this was the last they would see of Sydney. Kind of, sort of. And then my initial thought was, after seeing the movie after a couple weeks, Sydney will come back. The movie did awesome. It did crazy good numbers at the box office. Her role will probably be really, really small, and it might be even a cameo. And then the news came out that Nev Campbell was mad about her pay that they offered her and wasn't going to come back. And she announced this herself. I don't know if all that stuff was true. It might have been misdirection to make people think that Sidney Prescott will not be in Scream 6. I don't know for sure, but then news came out a few weeks later that, okay, they offered her money that she accepted and that she'll be in the movie, but her role will be very limited. So my take on things, Sidney Prescott will have a cameo appearance in Scream 6. A very brief cameo, maybe a little bit more than that, but just a cameo. And that's going to set up Scream 7. Maybe the killer calls Sydney, because there's a rumor that the killers get away in Scream 6 or Scream 5, and that's what lures Sydney back. Because why would Sydney come back or come to all this murder and mayhem? I mean, hasn't she been through enough thus far? I don't know, but I always thought Sydney would come back, especially when you talk about negotiating for a film. I would think when that Scream 2022 was negotiated, that they would talk about future films and get her signed in if they're going to do more movies right then and there. Just my thought, but I don't know how all the workings go. But I'd be willing to bet a pretty sizable amount of the money that I have in my bank account that Sidney Prescott will be in Scream 2023 or Scream 6 in new footage. Probably a cameo, possibly even before the credits roll. Possibly. Or maybe she'll have a little bit more to do than that. But that I would bet that Sydney will be back. Now, they've announced some cast members for the cast of Scream 6 that weren't in previous movies that I'm really excited about. The first one being Samara Weaving. Of course, the people that were behind Ready or Not were behind the last Scream movie and are also behind this one. And Samara Weaving was the lead in Ready or Not, and she's going to be in this movie. I don't know what her role will be, but I would be ecstatic if she's one of the killers, or a victim, or just a survivor in general, because I really like that actress and think that's an awesome decision. In fact, a lot of people were calling for her to be in Scream 2022. And were upset that she wasn't in it. So I'm glad that she's going to be in it. Also announced were Dermot Mulroney, who is, what I know him from was Shameless. He was in a few seasons of Shameless. I actually didn't like his character at all. He was an older guy dating Fiona. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his role will be. Probably be that older guy that has a pep talk to one of the main leads or something like that. So that's another person that's been announced. We also have the announcement of Tony Revolori. I may be mispronouncing some of these names. Tony, I can't see very good. Tony Revolori, who played Flash in the Flash Thompson, I believe. The newest Spider-Man movies. He's like the guy that's always trying to get pictures with Spider-Man and all that. He's going to be in it, which he's a big name because he was in Marvel movies, and people are like, oh, that character. And then the other people, the villain from Mission Impossible, the first one, apparently is in it, which I don't know that much about him, so I'm not really going to comment on it. His name is Henry, and I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to try. Czerny. He's in it as well. So we got some new cast members. We got some old cast members returning. Kirby, yes, love it. And then Nev Campbell, who knows? I think Nev Campbell's going to be in the movie. So that's who's in the movie thus far. I still want to see Joel the cameraman return, and I still want to know who Mindy and Chad's father is, because he is African American, and obviously they are part African American, and that would be kind of like somehow, some way that happened between Joel and Martha Meeks. Now, I don't know if Martha will be in this movie or not. In fact, I'm surprised that she wasn't killed off in Scream 2022, but yeah, we'll see what happens with her character maybe in the next installment. And obviously, my prediction. So I think for sure either Chad or Mindy dies. I'm saying it now. Chad or Mindy dies. They almost both died in the last one. One of them, if not both of them, will die in this one. It's unfortunate. I like both of those characters, but I do think one of them will die. Maybe even Mindy, because she's becoming a very hot commodity in Hollywood. She's in a TV show that I watched that I really like called Yellow Jackets, a show that I wasn't expecting much from, but I think the show's really good. And her character, the younger version of her character, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown, was actually pretty good. And she's talked about a lot in Hollywood right now as a young up-and-comer. So she may die or Chad may die. It's flip a coin. And then we have Sam and Tara. I think there's a possibility that one of them will eventually be a killer. It's possible. I mean, Sam's dad is Billy Loomis, and it would only make sense. She looked kind of crazy at the end of Scream 2022, spoiler alert, killing Richie, the killer in that movie, one of the killers. So, I don't know. And then I do think one of them might die. One of them will either be a killer or die eventually. I don't know if it'll be in this movie, but I could see one of them dying. And probably not, though, but just a prediction. And then, this has been talked about a lot in the Scream community, but I don't know if it'll be Scream 6, but Matthew Lillard is going to come back as Stu. Obviously, they have never confirmed that Stu is dead. They always talk about how Billy died, but they never confirmed Stu dying. Yes, I know a tube TV dropped on his head and he was electrocuted. But people have survived crazier things. Granted, he could easily still be alive. He probably was put in jail for 25 to life. And you know, the rumor initially, and it's not a rumor, it was confirmed that he was supposed to be the killer in Scream 3, or the mastermind behind the events in Scream 3, but then Columbine happened and they had to rewrite the movie. So Stu is going to come back at some point. And me personally, I don't believe at all that Dewey was killed by oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of the character. Amber Freeman's character from Scream 2022. What the hell is her name? I don't know. Chad's girlfriend from or no, not Chad's girlfriend, the other one. I don't think that for a second she's the one that killed Dewey. In fact, I think that's when Stu comes back and he's the one that killed Dewey. Of course, there could be a curveball thrown, and if Stu comes back, he feels remorse for all the events that happened and somehow, some way saves the day or something. Probably not going to happen. He's probably still crazy and loony and psycho as ever, but I do think at some point Stu will come back, and Sidney coming back will tie into that, and Scream 7 will be a crazy confrontation between Sidney and Stu. I'm telling you, Stu is coming back. In fact, Stu, I think he's been in all the movies thus far. Maybe not as Stu, but he was in the last one. He was the stab version of Stu with the stab version of Ghostface with a flamethrower. So he was in the background in Scream 2 because he was dating Nev Campbell. And so the scene where they're at the college party and Mickey and Randy are talking about sequels still. Matthew Lillard, you can't see his face, but he walks by, so he's got an uncredited role in that. And I think he was uncredited in Scream 4. He might not have been in Scream 3, but he was initially supposed to be in Scream 3. So yeah, I'm rambling long enough about that. I do think at some point Stu comes back, and that's something I'd be willing to bet another sizable amount of money on, just because I'm pretty confident that that's where everything leads to. So I think I've talked pretty long about something that I don't really have any concrete, I haven't seen a trailer yet, so I only can talk so much about this. I'll obviously do more Scream videos. The more people that want to see them, the more that I'll do. So again, if you're a fan of the Scream franchise, which I definitely am, please smash that like button. It does help out with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to share this video with people you know, go ahead and do that. Put this on your Facebook, put this on your Twitter, put this on your Instagram, put this on your MySpace, because we all know that everybody uses MySpace just as much as all those. Please do so. Sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on all the theories and thoughts that I've talked about, or all the news that I've talked about, or any news that you have. Share it in the comment section. And then last, of course, certainly not least, you're watching the video anyway, so don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.